John always knew there was something off about Elkhart, Illinois. This sleepy Midwestern town, filled with deserted farmland and abandoned barns, was the perfect breeding ground for legends and whispered tales. One piece of land, the old Thompson farm, stood out as the main subject of local lore. After turning 30, John decided he could no longer ignore the beckoning mystery of that place. Raised in Elkhart, he had moved away for school and later returned to take up a role as a reporter for the Lincoln Journal-Star. No amount of the town council or school board coverage could distract him from the palpable sense of intrigue that the old farm held for him. So, armed with a pen, a flashlight, and a relentless drive for the truth, he headed for the Thompson farm as the sun dipped below the horizon. Behind the decaying barn structure and the overgrown fields is the old battered sign announcing the presence of Elkhart Cemetery. It was a forgotten resting place, seldom visited, and shrouded in as much secrecy as the farm itself. The instant John stepped through the cemetery iron gates, an unsettling feeling washed over him. The air seemed to thicken. The dying light of day consumed by the looming gnarled trees whose shadows danced menacingly on the gravestones. His flashlight beam settled on an unusual tombstone, far older than its neighbours. It belonged to one Reuben Thompson, and was dated 1823. The inscription sent chills down his spine. Here lies a man buried by his deeds. Through painstaking research, John had found old diaries and newspaper clippings that hinted at the Thompsons' involvement in dark and arcane practices, rituals, witchcraft, and most disturbingly, the tale of a buried box containing something unimaginably evil. Ignoring the creeping feeling that he was meddling with forces beyond his comprehension, John returned to the cemetery with a shovel. He began to dig near Reuben Thompson's tombstone. His shovel struck wood. A decaying, intricately carved wooden box was soon unearthed, sealed with an archaic symbol that seemed to pulsate ominously. Ignoring the voice of caution, John broke the seal and opened the box. Inside, he found a trove of ancient papers, a peculiar amulet, and a vial filled with a dark liquid. When the seal cracked, a gust of cold wind swirled around him, as if the earth had exhaled. In the days that followed, Elkhart underwent a chilling transformation. Livestock were found mutilated, strange symbols graffiti on buildings, and an overwhelming sense of dread enveloped the community. Pets went missing. Townspeople reported seeing shadowy figures lurking near the outskirts of town, and mysterious power outages occurred with increasing frequency. John knew he had inadvertently unleashed something ancient, something malevolent. The spirit of Reuben Thompson or some other dark entity was no longer confined to its earthly prison. It was now free to wreak havoc and seemed to grow stronger each day. Desperate to set things right, John pored over the documents he had found in the unearthed box. With the help of Dr. Adam Wright, a local historian with a penchant for the arcane, they deciphered the fragmented texts and pieced together a ritual to reseal the unleashed evil. As unsettling occurrences in Elkhart escalated to dangerous levels, John and Dr. Wright knew they were running out of time. They gathered the necessary materials for the ritual, a circle of salt, a candle made of beeswax, and the amulet from the box, and set out for the cemetery where it had all begun. Standing within the salt circle, under a moon that seemed to mock them with its indifference, John and Dr. Wright began to recite the archaic incantations. Almost immediately, they felt a force pushing back. The wind howled, the ground beneath them shook, and shadowy figures began to converge on the edges of their circle. Despite the increasing resistance, they persisted. As they reached the final words of the chant, John held the amulet aloft, and a beam of light shot from it toward the sky, dispelling the shadows that had gathered. The earth seemed to sigh in relief as dawn broke, signaling a new day and a new beginning for Elkhart. John documented every event, every ritual, and every piece of lore he'd uncovered, ensuring that future generations would not forget the perils of digging too deeply into the past. While he was hailed as a hero, he couldn't escape the haunting memories of what he had seen, and the knowledge of what he had unleashed, even if briefly. Though they had won the battle that day, John wondered what else was buried in the dark corners of Elkhart, in the annals of history, or perhaps under another gravestone in that forgotten cemetery. He'd walk by the old Thompson farm that became a place of cautionary tales rather than innocent rural allure. In Elkhart, the Thompson farm remained an enigma, its land forever scarred by the events it witnessed. While the physical embodiment of its dark past was contained, the town knew that evil existed in many forms, visible and invisible, tangible and intangible, human and beyond understanding. And so, things had remained uneventful. Until now, evil has returned from lurking in the shadows.
Welcome back to Tales of the Unseen, where we dive deep into the mysteries that lurk in the shadows of our world. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we have a spine-tingling story from the quiet town of Elkhart, Illinois, a place where legends seem to breathe and darkness hides just beneath the surface.
That's right. It all starts with a man named John, who always felt something was amiss in his hometown, especially around the old Thompson farm.
And after years away, John returned as a reporter. But it wasn't the council meetings or school board coverage that drew him back. It was a pull of the mystery surrounding that farm.
He took a leap of faith, armed with just a pen and a flashlight. As the sun set, he ventured into the eerie atmosphere of the Thompson farm, which was steeped in local lore.
Once he arrived, he stumbled upon the Elkhart Cemetery, a forgotten relic that seemed to hold secrets of its own. The moment he stepped through those iron gates, he was hit with an unsettling feeling.
You can almost picture the scene. Gnarled trees casting shadows on gravestones, and an unusual tombstone belonging to Reuben Thompson, dated 1823. The inscription, "Here lies a man buried by his deeds." Chilling, right?
Absolutely. And John's curiosity drove him to dig deeper. Literally. He returned to the cemetery with a shovel, uncovering a wooden box sealed with an ominous symbol.
When he opened that box, everything changed. Inside were ancient papers, a peculiar amulet, and a vial of dark liquid. It was like opening Pandora's box, wasn't it?
Definitely. And soon after, Elkhart began to experience strange occurrences. Mutilated livestock, shadowy figures, and a sense of dread that loomed over the town.
John realized he had unleashed something evil, something tied to the dark history of the Thompsons. It was a race against time to contain it.
Enter Dr. Adam Wright, a local historian with knowledge of the arcane. Together, they pieced together a ritual to reseal the unleashed entity.
They gathered their materials and returned to the cemetery, where it all began. Standing in a salt circle, they started their incantations, but the force pushing back was immense.
Can you imagine the tension? The wind howling, the ground shaking, and those shadowy figures converging on them. It must have felt like a scene straight out of a horror movie.
And yet, they persisted. As they recited the final words of the chant, John raised the amulet and a beam of light shot into the sky. It was a moment of hope amid the chaos.
With dawn breaking, Elkhart was freed from the immediate threat, but John knew the scars would remain. He documented everything to warn future generations.
While hailed as a hero, John couldn't shake the feeling that he had merely scratched the surface of something much darker. What else could be lurking in the shadows?
A haunting thought indeed. Elkhart may have found temporary peace, but what about the darkness that never fully leaves?
And as the story implies, evil has a way of returning. The mysteries of the Thompson farm remain, and who knows what else lies beneath the soil of that forgotten cemetery.
It's a reminder that some tales are better left untold. Thanks for joining us today as we explored this chilling story from Elkhart, Illinois. Stay curious, but also stay safe.
Until next time, keep your eyes open and your mind sharp. You never know what shadows may be watching you.
Goodbye, everyone.
The wind broke open with a cry, and something old crawled through the sky. We woke to blood in the morning dew. The cattle gone, the sky turned blue. Symbols scrawled across our doors. Dogs don't bark round here no more. Power lines like like broken bones, eyes in trees, strange whispered tones. We lit our lights, we locked our gates, but evil laughed outside our fates. When the wind broke open, we felt the curse, like the earth had screamed from something worse. From every field to every barn, we prayed someone would raise the alarm.
We stood alone under the moon, while shadows danced to a deathly tune.
I held the salt with shaking hands, the candle flickered, defied demands. Beside me Rye stood pale but proud, as darkness pressed thick like a shroud. The air it cracked, the circle strained, the wind it cursed in tongues unnamed. Figures loomed with glowing eyes, but we stood firm 'neath cursed skies.
We heard the wind scream down the road, we saw the stars blink overload. The earth it buckled, trees did bend, we prayed they'd hold out to the end.
When the wind broke open and the world went black, two men stood, no way back. With beeswax flame and ancient rite, they turned the darkness into light.
The sky did burn, the ground did split, but Elkhart stood because they wouldn't quit.
So light a candle on that hill, where brave men fought and brave stood still. And when the wind begins to moan, remember Elkhart and what was shown.
Sometimes truth should stay buried.
I was born in Elkhart, raised on corn and rain, but some land don't grow nothing, just pain. Heard tales of the Thompson farm, where nothing living came to no harm. 30 years and back again, reporters pen a haunted pen. Found that stone with a name so cold, Reuben Thompson, sins too bold. Buried by his deeds, that's what it read, but the curse don't die just 'cause he's dead. I dug too deep, I broke the seal, now heart burns with things too real. The sky went black, the wind did howl, and I knew then I stirred the fire. A box of blood and arcane scripts, an amulet tied in my shaking grip. Livestock torn, shadows dance, the price of truth, a devil's chance. Called a man who knew all rights, Dr. Wright brought beeswax lights,
won't stay shut. Some names should fade, but mine, it's inked in flame. Buried by his deeds, I stood the line against the dark, against the sign. You can call it myth, call it lore, but I saw hell and walked back more. Now the barn leans low, the grave is sealed, but the wind still knows.
We live
is what is real. Cold circuits pulsing with dread. A future lost, the living dead. Can you hear the silent scream? The black and whites, they weave the dream. Shadows in the machine, dragging
Shadows crawl beneath my skin. Fire burns the night within. Chains of fear we shatter now. Together we stand, we take the vow. Eyes wide open, we see the signs. Hearts on fire, no compromise. Into the darkness we rise. Together we fight, no more disguise. In the blackest night we scream, we are the light, we are the dream. Ashes fall from broken skies. Echoes of the battle cries. Cold steel hearts we forge anew. Brothers and sisters we break through. Eyes wide open, we see the signs. Hearts on fire, no compromise. Into the darkness we rise. Together we fight, no more disguise. In the blackest night we scream, we are the light, we are the dream. Into the darkness we rise. Together we fight, no more disguise. In the blackest night we scream, we are the light, we are the dream. Into the darkness, into the darkness, into the darkness. Elkhart weeps with blood and smoke. The land remembers every stroke. He broke the seal, he cracked the curse, and now the town is growing worse. The wind won't sleep, the fields don't rest. Symbols burn on barn and chest. Eyes and trees, a silence loud. The farm now wears a funeral shroud.
ritual speaks. The evil please.
In the circle and the curse, he faced the night for better or worse. From broken box to broken land, he drew the line, he made the stand. Flash of light, screams of flame, but nothing's ever quite the same. Now the farm sleeps, the wind runs cold, but evil watches, never old. The ground was split, the sky hung low, and in the graveyard evil rose. We drew the line in salted dust, lit that flame with desperate trust. Right held firm, his voice was steel. I prayed the chant would break the seal.
The wind grew teeth, it bit our skin. The dark came crawling from within. Figures moved just past the light, eyes like coals born of night.
One wrong word, we're torn apart, but we held fast with pounding heart. The amulet began to glow, and every shadow screamed below.
With salt and flame we made our stand against the dead things of this land. With every chant the ground would shake, but we refused to bend or break. The night did cry, but Elkhart would not let down. I saw the ghosts of every sin. They howled and beat against our skin. Right's hands bled, my voice was raw, but still we stood inside that law.
By the light, by the name, by the ashen bone. Back to dust, you go alone.
The flame went out, then lit again, like hope reborn through pain and pen. We spoke the last word, clear and true, and something ancient finally withdrew. With salt and flame the curse was turned, though skin was cut and boots were burned. The ground exhaled, the storm grew still, but what we stopped still waits to kill. It sleeps beneath, it breathes below, but we were there and made it. So carve their names